You're listening to Startup Universe Talks, a podcast where we meet with startup founders, angel investors, and major stakeholders of the startup ecosystem. They let us in on the do's and don'ts of running a startup, their career story, and the process of succeeding as well as failing. In other words, everything of interest to startup nerds. Startup Universe is a massive network of opportunities for EU tech startup founders, connecting them with the best minds of the EU tech community, with unicorn founders, known investors, and experts. We have brought together European countries to join forces and launch startup programs suitable for their nation's tech founders. ESU aims to give access to opportunity for funding and expansion across EU countries. This is Startup Universe Talks. I am Maritza, and today I am here with Helene Niklasson, the head of CampX by Volvo Group. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So maybe we could just begin with, can you tell me about CampX?
Oh, absolutely. CampX is an initiative. And the whole idea behind CampX, it is the same as the Volvo Group. I'm not sure if you know all the scope of Volvo Group, but it is to be in transport solutions, to provide transport solutions. And we are focusing on commercial transport, which means that it's around trucks, buses, construction equipment, and marine applications as well. And there, the whole focus and ambition, it is really to put valuable and sustainable transport solutions on the market. And that is exactly the same focus for CampX. What we do is a little bit different though. So we do it in a little bit of a different way, where the idea is to create an ecosystem around the Volvo Group, or a network, maybe we can call it, but I like to call it an ecosystem around Volvo Group with startups in that same area of sustainable transport solutions. So you can say CampX, it's an initiative that complements the whole Volvo Group's ambitions to be the lead in this big transformation towards completely fossil-free and sustainable transport solutions, where Volvo Group is in lead. And one way to do that is to work in this manner that CampX is putting in place.
So can you tell me more about the startups that you are collaborating with? How does the collaboration, what does it look like?
Well, first of all, in CampX, what we are focusing on, it's this network, but it's also to open up and invite external partners in partnerships. And we are focusing on startups in these areas around fossil-free and sustainable transport solutions. And we have focused so far very much on electromobility. That means both with battery electric vehicles, but also with fuel cell electric vehicles. And another important area in the transformation is self-driving or autonomous driving. And of course, everything around digitalization and connected services. That has been a lot of focus around that. My team, the team that I belong to, the CampX team, we are orchestrators or facilitators in this. And the startups we work with are the ones where we can marry the strength that we have. We've been around for many years. We are having a lot of history when it comes to innovation. That's why we have been successful. We're also very good in industrialization and in export. We are on 190 markets, so we have a great outreach. To marry that strength with the strength of a startup, which is to work in a very quick and agile way, and to bring in these fantastic innovations and ideas where we together in partnership can marry this and together develop something that ultimately will reach the market and will be adopted by the market. That is really the end ambition for everything in CampX. And we strongly say that an innovation is only successful once it has reached and been adopted by the market. So that is really, really the key when we work together. And we do it in a way that we work very close with our Volvo organization, identifying what are the challenges and opportunities. And I can tell you, in this transformation, there is no shortage of things that needs to be done. And very often, we have the same driver. So we are driven by really accelerating and speeding up this transformation towards fossil-free, safe, sustainable transport solutions. That is the same ambition and drive as our partners with the startups have. So we can really work together and be stronger together. So that is that is the main core of our collaboration, to do it together. And then we have all the facilities around to make that happen. Behind me, you can see CampX here in Gothenburg, but we also, of course, have all the necessary legal documentations, IP assessments, etc., to support us. But what is important for us as a big corporation, it is to create this win-win situation. So it's not just us, with all our strength. For example, in legal, we have excellent legal departments, we have excellent IP departments and other support functions that we use them to actually support our startups so they can grow within our umbrella, so to say.
Yeah, no, it's really one of those win-win situations for both parts. And can you tell me about maybe one startup that you have been working with that is operating in the more sustainable field? Can you give me an example on what do they do?
Oh, it's quite a lot. I would say that in these top areas that I have already mentioned, electromobility, autonomous driving, and digitalization and connected services, I would say that the main part that we work with, it's data driven. So it's almost always some software algorithms around artificial intelligence. So we know our products, but they generate a lot of data where you can bring so much intelligence. So one area, for example, batteries. And now we are shifting from our internal combustion engine that we know very well. We are having already battery electric vehicles on the market. So we have had that for some time. In buses, we have had it for more than 10 years, but also for trucks now. So we have collecting a lot of intelligence around how that works. But with that data, you can bring out so many more valuable findings. And here, some other people outside of the Volvo Group have also thought about this. So it is to bring them in, but predominantly it's about data, artificial intelligence, and another very important area for autonomous driving, it's sensors. It's the ability to see the world around you and to be able to bring that knowledge into the algorithms. So you create really, really safe ways of operating in a fully autonomous way. So that is the main focus for the startups that we are working with. So far, we started here in Gothenburg in 2019, created the framework with all the legal and purchasing is a very important piece of the concept as well, to facilitate it, to build that foundation so we can work in a quick and simple way, take quick decisions, and to actually reply to an interesting startup. Yes, we are interested to work with you. Please come and join us. Please be invited into the facility here and sit together with us when it's possible and work with us. Then we need to be able to take quick decisions and actually also to be able to sign simple contracts in a quick manner. But since we started here in Gothenburg in 2019, we have worked with around 40 different startups, predominantly in these areas. And we've seen that this works well. Many of them have actually launched to the market in different formats, in different ways. Some go directly to the market, and then through our brands, usually it's around services. We have Volvo Trucks, is a brand here in Gothenburg, which we work very closely with. And another way to launch it is that we are in our validation phase, because we kick off short validation projects. We call them proof of values for 3 to 6 months, where we validate the idea. If we find that we are onto something, but it's not really Volvo core, it's outside of Volvo core, we think that this solution has a much higher likelihood to be successful outside of the Volvo network, then we spin it out and become a joint venture with some other partners, where we are also co-owners of that. That's another, so we spin it out. Or we see in the proof of value phase, the validation phase, that we are onto something, but we're not done yet. Then we continue in a partnership manner. So we create, a partnership where the startup bring something, we bring something, and then we continue to develop like a platform of some sort. Or finally, which is the normal case, we see that the startup has something really valuable, a piece of the puzzle for the whole complete transport solution. And then it could be like through a license agreement or some sort of collaboration agreement that will bring them in. Or we stop. That also happens. So we work very, very, and I think that is also one key why it has been so successful, that we have been able to run quite a few startups that actually have been launched, is that in the starting point, we always start with our organization. And we start to sit down with them. So if we take electromobility as an example, we have what we call in Volvo product and business owners. They are the ones responsible for, it could be, if we mentioned the battery, we took that as an example before, responsible for the batteries. But there are more areas in electromobility, obviously, when you put it on the market to make sure that you can charge, etc. There is a lot of areas of responsibility. All those in electromobility, you put in a network and you start to create a priority list of things that we think can complement the already ongoing work with someone else. So it complements what we are already planning to do by bringing in a startup that will support us in doing the work. Then we go through our facilitators through the CampX team into the innovation ecosystem through some collaborations with different platforms to match around the globe to find the best ones, the biggest match from our priority list, good quality startups that we then invite to start these proof of value projects. But it's always the business and product owner who stand behind each and every initiative and say, this I really, really want, this is important to me. Then it's a much, much higher likelihood that it will be launched in the end. So we have set this up in this manner right now. It will probably change in a little while because it changes. We learn as we go all the time. But this has proven to be very successful because we have the organization with us all the time. And they are the ones to take the decision, should we do it or not? Should we continue and launch or not? And in what manner should we launch in that case? So me and my team, we are the facilitators to make this happen. And we've seen here in Gothenburg, since we started in 2019, it works. This partnership factory works. So we have launched it now in Bangalore, and we opened a hub there, a CampX hub in Bangalore in India, summer of 2021. And we have recently launched a hub in France, in Lyon. And we have just taken decisions a couple of weeks ago to launch a hub in USA, in Greensboro. And you might wonder, why did you pick these locations? Well, it comes back to the fact that we believe it's important to be close to our footprint, to our organization where we are globally, having big sites, big hubs, so we can easily get things done. So we have one in Bangalore, and Bangalore, by the way, has a fantastic startup ecosystem that we want to leverage, work together with them. Then France, same thing, Lyon, very big hub, and now in Greensboro, which is in North Carolina. North Carolina is starting to become extremely interesting in terms of innovation ecosystem with startups around that area. So we are very fortunate that we have our footprint in also very good ecosystems where we can leverage from.
It's very interesting also to have it in such widespread around the globe, and I believe that must be a strength to not be centered only around Europe, for example.
No, I think that is because, the big challenges here is really speed. Oh. Everything goes so fast. There is so many new players, so many new technologies to integrate, so many new ways of doing business. So, in order to be speedy, you need to have a good outreach, and you have to be able to do things in a simple and quick way. You have to be able to kick off things and see, does it bring value or not? And what can we do with it? So I think that is really the key here, that, we are around all the Volvo values, and one of the Volvo values is change. So I think that is one key thing. We really embrace change here. Change is always going to be there, but it's really happening now. It's a transformation without, I've been in this industry for many years. It's amazing to be in the transport industry these days. It's a revolution. It's so inspiring and exciting and challenging at the same time. So speed, it is really, really something to take up as a challenge. And I think being in a global outreach, we have a good chance to actually capture wherever we find the best partners. We can quickly start to get it up and running. But I think another value, which is also we share the same values as Volvo, obviously, but one is trust, and that is really key in the CampX as well. We trust our partners. Of course, we have contracts to protect us and to protect them, of course. So we are in agreement. We have all worked out before we start the IP, intellectual property, who owns what, and what happens if we come up with something valuable here. What do we do? But we invite our partners to sit together with us without any boundaries. They are invited into our facilities, and that has proven to be the most attractive part to our startups. That is actually the fact, not that they sit in a nice office, but it's that they get access to the experts. And I can really understand that, because they have a great idea, usually really smart idea, but it's great to have someone who understands the transport business really, and industry, and what you can use it for. So you get a strong application by being very close. So just the coffee machines, that's the central entity. So coffee is an important piece as well here as a success factor. But just this trusting each other, that we trust invite, but they trust us on the same time to be able to open up and really come with these ideas and create something valuable together.
Yeah. How do you identify the good startups?
I think it's a great question. One of the challenges is really around talent. The whole industry is facing that. We talked about what are our main focus areas where we work in. And I mentioned, autonomous electrification and digitalization. Now another is circularity, big focus on that. And to find good talents in these areas, many people are looking for that. And there is a big competition. I would say it is a competition to attract and collaborate with the best ones. So it's two things. You have to have competence and a good thing, but also attitude is so important, because you need to be, we want to work with the ones with that can-do mentality and attitude. So it is really to bring in the best ones with the highest quality, who have this attitude and who wants to create something together with us. So we look at those two things, and then we use external collaboration partners to come together with us and look at our priority list and use their network. So one example is Mobility X Lab here in Gothenburg. We have Drive Tel Aviv in Israel. Another one is Your Story in Bangalore. And there is one where we work together in the Volvo Group called Plug and Play in USA. So we use those type of networks in order to help us scout the best ones with the highest quality, because we really want them to be able to be successful. But another important piece here in order to work with us is, if it's successful and you become, either go straight to market, spin out, continue the partnership, or you become a piece of the puzzle in a larger solution, you have to be able to scale. So I think that is also a qualifier. But here we are also looking, how can we, support, because we find so many who are having great ideas. How can we let them grow within our framework, within our CampX umbrella? And that is, how do we engage with the startups? Right now, we are engaging through partnerships, but there are many other ways to do it, and that we are investigating now as a second step for CampX.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I'm gonna see how that turns out. But speaking,
we have to talk in a couple of months again.
Yes, definitely. We will do a follow-up.
Yes.
But speaking of the future, what are the future plans of CampX?
Well, it is really to continue to be this trusted partner to the startups, to be this, to strengthen what we have already started now, but to strengthen this network and ecosystem of startups around Volvo Group, to continue to get the traction internally, which we have already started to see a lot of ideas, a lot of things to do. And like I said, there is no shortage of good ideas. Also to the engagement. I think that is the big part here with how do we further expand our engagement in the different startups that we see that we really would like to strengthen our collaboration and with, or partnership, I should say, the startups that we would like to strengthen the partnership with, together with. How do we engage in those? There are many, many ways. And one branch we have in the Volvo Group, it is venture capital branch. So we can, make investments, but there are other ways, like how can we support them to maybe be with us here, and we can even further explain how it is to work with a large corporation. So strengthen the engagement in terms of collaboration with the large corporation and the smaller ones. How can we strengthen that offer from CampX? So we are looking at many ways to develop, and there is so much to do. So that is a challenge. So many things that we could do, and so many interesting opportunities, great opportunities. But it's also to stay focused and get the work done, because in the end, we really, really want to support ourselves and our startups to get it on the market. That is the end goal.
One last question before we wrap up. What is your best advice to startups? Because you must have seen so many.
I would say to reach out for advice. Don't be shy on that. Ask questions. Try to hook up with the ones who wants to work with you, and really build a relationship. Take time to build a relationship with the ones who can support you. So find the ones who are there, who are serious. Like CampX is a sign that Volvo Group is really serious about the lead in this transformation, and we want to work with others. We are really serious about, we will not solve this ourselves, we want to work with others. When there is a clear message like this, approach and try to figure out listen to the advice but stand strong behind your idea, but be open to listen and try to figure out how we can find the best solution. But I really think that the ones we are working with are having exactly that attitude, that okay, we bring something, but we develop it further together, and by marrying these two strengths we can really be much stronger and have a quicker way to market together.
Yes, everything boils down to good collaboration is the key. But
that is absolutely the key. So be open for collaboration and take the dialogues and listen, and also do not be afraid to speak your mind.
I feel like that is the perfect note to end it on. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thanks a lot for having me. It was a very nice pleasure. Thanks.
You've been listening to Startup Universe Talks. If you want to know more about us, go to thestartupuniverse.org and follow us on social media. Thank you for listening.